Lao Tzu once said, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." This ancient wisdom, though spoken thousands of years ago, still resonates with an undeniable power today. It is more than a poetic phrase. It is a timeless reminder that every great accomplishment, every transformation, and every dream fulfilled is built upon the courage to begin, no matter how small that beginning may seem. We often look at the magnitude of our goals, the distance of our aspirations, and we freeze because the mountain before us appears too high, the path too uncertain, the future too overwhelming. But Lao Tzu gently reminds us that the destination is not reached in a leap. It is reached in steps, and the very first one is the most important of all. Think about the stories of humanity's greatest achievements. Every innovation, every movement that changed the world began with a single act, often small and unnoticed at the time. The Wright brothers dreamed of flying, yet their first airplane stumbled more than it soared. Thomas Edison's light bulb failed hundreds of times before it finally illuminated the world. Even Gandhi's March for Freedom began with the simple act of placing one foot before the other, walking steadily, quietly, but with purpose. These individuals did not wait for the perfect moment, nor did they allow the enormity of the task to paralyze them. They simply started, imperfectly, but courageously, and that is the essence of Lao Tzu's teaching. Greatness is never born fully formed. It emerges step by step, through perseverance and action. Too often, we allow fear to silence our first step. We wait for clarity, for confidence, for certainty. We tell ourselves that once the conditions are right, then we will act. But conditions are never perfect, and the waiting only deepens our hesitation. Life is not transformed by waiting. It is transformed by moving. That first step, however shaky, however uncertain, breaks the inertia and sets everything into motion. It is the spark that ignites the fire, the seed that grows into a tree, the whisper that becomes a roar. Without the first step, there is no journey. And without the journey, there is no growth, no discovery, no fulfillment. When you take that first step, something extraordinary happens. The path begins to reveal itself. Opportunities appear where none were visible before. Confidence grows because progress, even the smallest progress, fuels belief. Momentum builds, and what once seemed impossible starts to feel inevitable. The fear that held you back begins to shrink, replaced by a quiet strength that says, "I can keep going." Lao Tzu understood that transformation does not demand leaps of faith beyond our capacity, but small, deliberate acts of courage that accumulate into something extraordinary. This wisdom is not only about grand ambitions. It applies to every part of life. Perhaps you want to improve your health, to read more, to learn a new skill, to rebuild a broken relationship, or to pursue a long-forgotten dream. The distance to where you want to be may seem overwhelming, but it always begins with one choice, one action. Drink one glass of water instead of soda. Read one page instead of scrolling endlessly. Write one paragraph instead of waiting for inspiration to deliver a whole book. Say one kind word to someone with whom you've drifted apart. These steps are so small they may feel insignificant, yet they are the seeds of transformation. With consistency, they expand, and suddenly you realize you have walked miles from where you started. Lao Tzu's teaching also carries another truth: humility. When we acknowledge that every journey begins with a step, we embrace the reality that progress takes time, and we give ourselves permission to be beginners. Too many dreams die because people are ashamed of starting small. They compare their first step to someone else's thousandth, and they feel inadequate. But greatness is not in how you begin. It is in the persistence with which you continue. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master once stumbled. The journey is not meant to be perfect. It is meant to be walked. And so the lesson is clear. Do not underestimate the power of the first step. Do not despise the day of small beginnings. That step, is your declaration to the world and to yourself that you are ready to move, to grow, to evolve. That step is the bridge between the dream in your mind and the reality in your life. And once you take it, you discover that what seemed impossible is simply a series of steps waiting to be walked. So ask yourself today, what is the journey I have been postponing? What dream have I delayed because the road looked too long? What change have I resisted because I feared failing? And then, instead of waiting for the perfect time, take one step. Write the first sentence, make the first call, walk the first block, choose the healthier meal, say the kind word. Begin, and let the act of beginning change everything. Lao Tzu's words remind us that the extraordinary is born in the ordinary. 1,000 miles, 1,000 victories, 1,000 moments of growth, all begin in one moment of courage. Let that courage be yours today. Take the step, however small, and watch how the universe rearranges itself to guide you forward. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and perhaps that step is the one you take now.